Golden Tate. He's been my midseason MVP. Also, watch for Theo Riddick. He's played crucial roles in some wins for these Lions the last couple of weeks. The two best teams in the NFC. It's going to be a great day here in Arizona.
And Ronnie, no matter how it starts out, the drama that Detroit has shown in the fourth quarter, 3 straight last moment wins, 4 straight overall, and the Cardinal defense, which seems to pour it on in the fourth quarter with takeaways. You'll want to hang around for that. Arizona won the toss, and they want the football. So Sam Martin ready to kick off. That's Ted Ginn Jr. 9 kickoff returns, averaging just below 16 yards a return. Neither one of these teams have really sparkled on special teams, yet their records very, very impressive. Week 11, Lions and Cardinals is happening. Touchback, and the Arizona offense led by Drew Stanton. You know the story of Carson Palmer, who was injured last week and out for the remainder of the season. His 8th career start, Stanton in his 8th year, again a Lions draft pick, and his name Drew, his parents growing up in Texas named him after the Cowboy receiver Drew Pearson in the late 70s and 80s. The number 1 defense in the NFL is out there facing Stanton and the Cardinals. First down from the 20. Andre Ellington is brought down for a loss. C.J. Mosley, that inside defense of Detroit. And Ellington, the centerpiece of this Arizona offense. And you talked about some of the playmakers, and Larry Fitzgerald, still up to his game, leads the team in catches with 44.
Plenty of weapons for Drew Stanton on this offense. This offensive line has a huge test today. That's guard, center, guard combination there. Struggled last week. They got their hands full with these 2 defensive tackles here for Detroit.
4 wide receivers after a loss of 1 on second down. Stanton to throw, and for Fitzgerald, juggling and knocked away. To hear Whitehead from his linebacker spot, part of that Lions defense that is led by Ndamukong Suh, one of the dominating defensive players you'll see today. Ziggy Ansah with 5.5 sacks in his second year coming on strong, and a secondary that has held up well.
It really has. James Ahedabu, I think, is the emotional leader on this team. The free agent from Baltimore, brings energy to this defense, some leadership to that back end. They pay dividends for them this entire season.
Early test for Stanton here on 3rd and 11. 4-man rush. Time for Stanton. He's got John Brown for a first down.
Arizona's been playing with fire all year. 3rd and long situations. Somehow, though, Chris, they continue to convert these 3rd and long situations. It's one of the reasons they've been so successful this season.
And there was no drop-off in confidence from Bruce Arians and this team. Yes, they were shocked with the injury last Sunday evening of Carson Palmer. But Drew Stanton, as you said moments ago, knows this offense as well as anybody.
Ace.
And has already showed that. After a gain of 12 on first down, Stanton to throw again. Hits his tight end up across the 35, and that's Troy Nicholas, the rookie from Notre Dame.
Early in this game, I really expect Arizona to have some of these quick hitting throws. You saw the quick play action trying to get it to Larry Fitzgerald on his first pass. That pass right there to the flat to Carlson. Expect him to get in the rhythm, build his confidence, and they can go from there.
And the Lions defense, they don't blitz a lot, Rondé, because they don't have to.
No, that front 4, those horses up front have gotten the job done. We'll see it situationally, though, today, Chris.
Here comes a flag on 2nd and 5. Looked like the Lions jumped and going for it all. He figures he has the free play. It's intercepted by Glover Quinn, but let's check the flag. And there's a second flag down at the 45 of Detroit. Jerome Boger is our referee.
There are 2 fouls on the play, both against the defense. Offside, defense, number 99. That penalty decline. Holding, defense.
We lost the mic on the second half of the defensive holding. The offside, let's listen to how the count. And a different quarterback, obviously a different cadence. But it is a first down from the 41. And Andre Ellington waits for a blocker and has room. He's in Lions territory. Still going to the 41 of Detroit.
Andre Ellington, you give him some space and he can make a lot of things happen. One way they're going to try to do this against Detroit is get them in their sub package so they have one less linebacker in the game. It spreads out the defense, gives them plenty of running room, and Andre Ellington certainly knows what to do with it when he gets that much space.
A 17-yard run. He's only 5'9" and 193 pounds, but the centerpiece of this Arizona offense. On first down, looks like the Lions jumped, but no flag. Stanton is going for it all. Here comes a flag. Michael Floyd has a touchdown.
Well, you know Bruce Arians is not shy to take shots. There was no flag.
Interference. Defense number 29. That pulls the climb. Result of the play. Touchdown.
There was no flag on the offsides early in the game. But Michael Floyd, who's kind of been marginalized in this offense a little bit with the emergence of John Brown, gets his shot here. When you throw him a jump ball, Cassius Vaughn out of position, can't get around him to make a play, and a quick straight touchdown for Arizona.
The 6'2" Floyd leaped up to grab it. Penalties hurting the Lions on this opening drive. Chandler Catanzaro, the rookie, with the extra point. And the Cardinals going for their 9th win of this season already. Strike first and lead against the Lions 7-0. Drew Stanton, 3 out of 4 on that drive, including the touchdown toss. Carson Palmer with that injured knee watching at home. Impressed as the Cardinals go up against the top defense in the league. And strike early. Jeremy Ross back to return the kick from Catanzaro. If he has an opportunity, a liner that goes into the end zone. And Ross is bringing it out. Stopped just short of the 20-yard line. For Michael Floyd, just 5 catches in the last 3 weeks, but today in the end zone early in Arizona. Lions take over at the 20-yard line. Joyce Bell in the backfield for Matthew Stafford. Just short of the 20, actually, spotted at the 19. And it is Bell who will lose yardage. Dale Buchanan, the rookie safety slash linebacker, with the stop. And for Matthew Stafford at age 26, in his first 70 NFL games, he's thrown for more yards than any other player in history, just ahead of Kurt Warner, and can hit 20,000 today. His 71st NFL start, but in a hole and trailing. Just beyond the 26 is Golden Tate. It'll bring up third down, and you talked about the different playmakers that this team has, including Theo Riddick. Riddick, who will see some time on the ground, a little beat up on the offensive line.
Plenty of playmakers for Matthew Stafford today. Golden Tate played a huge role when Calvin Johnson was out. Watch for this O-line, though. They got a really tough test as well against that front four in this blitzing Arizona defense.
Unusual that Tate is out, but it's 3rd and 1. Bell and Jet Collins gets the carry, trying to move forward, but he was stoned by that Cardinal defense.
No going in there.
And I mentioned Golden Tate because he leads the NFL on 3rd down catches, and he was out even if he's a decoy.
Taking a cautious approach there, but he ran right into the mouth of Calais Campbell, Dan Williams, Frosty Rucker. This front, I guess it's a 3 in this odd front for Arizona. This 3-4 alignment. They are big, they are physical, and they are hard to move, and there was nothing there.
On 4th and 1, Sam Martin booms it away. Ted Ginn, no fair catch, and he's knocked down right away. Excellent special teams play by Don Carey. Arizona has the football after the Cardinal defense forced the Lions to a 3-and-out. The Lion defense had only allowed 2 touchdowns of 20 yards or more until the 42-yard touchdown catch moments ago by Michael Floyd. On 1st down, Ellington the carry, and gets up to the 25-yard line. In the first possession, Drew Stanton, you have to like what you see.
Again, we know that the offense is not going to change with Drew Stanton at quarterback. He's so good at getting the ball out, understands this offense. He told us the guys on this team last year when Carson came in would come to him because he had the understanding from Bruce Arians in his time together in Indianapolis. I don't think they see any drop-off of him as quarterback today.
Lions adjust with 5 defensive backs here. Stanton on 2nd down in the pocket, has to throw over the head of Floyd, who got open. He broke late. Stanton got a little pressure there. Drew Stanton, who is making his 4th start of the season, producing a couple of wins against the Giants in San Francisco when he stepped in for Carson Palmer. He left the loss, the only loss for this team at Denver in the 3rd quarter with a concussion.
There were some drops in that game where they had a chance to win that one. Drew Stanton played well before he went out.
Robert Hughes checks in. Bottom of your screen, running back as a receiver. Empty backfield. On 3rd and 8. In the hands. Going forward is Robert Hughes. He is loose. All the way down to the 26 of the Lions.
Like we said, he understands this offense, and in Bruce Arians' offense, there's quick routes built in when there's pressure, and Terrell Austin brought pressure there. Robert Hughes made the adjustment on the slant. Ball hit him in the face. He's off and running.
More of a fullback. Obviously he could catch, but showed some speed there as well. And with all the weapons on this Cardinal offense, you figure that's the last place they'd go. Quick snap to Ellington and met right away. There's a flag down.
To build on that point, though, Chris, it doesn't matter who or where the quick route is coming out in the blitz. They all have to understand it.
Illegal substitution. Defense. The 12th player did not get off the field. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay, 1st down.
So just to finish that thought, Bruce Arians has his system. It's not, everything is built in. So when there's a pressure coming from the opposing team, whoever that near receiver is, whether it's a running back, wide receiver, or a tight end, they have to know how to adjust. They're on the same page, and Drew Stanton made them pay right there.
And a quick snap obviously caught the defense. So the penalties, 2 accepted, but 4 already called on the Lions. On 1st down, Cardinals. They only need 5. Stanton with a quick pass to John Brown. He's got speed. He's got a 1st down. Run out of bounds. Marked at the 12-yard line.
This #1 defense in the land really needs to stand up now. 2 quick scores here would be somewhat disastrous on the road here in Arizona. But what you're seeing is Drew Stanton, like they told us they were going to do, get the ball out of his hand quickly to his playmakers, let them do the work, less pressure on the quarterback, only starting his 8th game in his career.
Now Ellington and Hughes both in the backfield. The pitch to Ellington, and he's knocked down right away. An excellent defensive play. Working through the block over there up at the 14-yard line. Coming from his safety spot, James Ahenabo, who has been bothered by a sore back this week, missed some practice time. Jim Caldwell, who runs this team more like an executive CEO as a head coach.
Yeah, very dichotomous personalities between these 2 head coaches, right? One is, like you said, the CEO, executive, very controlled, reserved the whole time, and then Bruce Arians, who wears it on his sleeve unlike any coach in the NFL right now.
On second down, Ellington brought down at the 12-yard line. Excellent tackle, by Rasheem Mathis. Yeah, Bruce Arians is more, when they said, are you a father figure? He said, no, I'm more like the cool uncle you want to hang out with. And he certainly has gotten the most out of his players. Not only last year, they've won 15 of their last 8 games. Now facing a 3rd and 10 from the Lions 12. And 5 wide receivers.
It's going to stress this Detroit defense, make them declare what their coverage they're in right now. And it looks like they're going all out.
Here they come. Stanton's throw, end zone high. It's caught. That's Michael Floyd. And he's got another Cardinal touchdown.
Well, teams like to, on defense, when they get down in the red zone, need a stop. They love to bring all available players, but Arizona bunches these guys up right here, so it makes it difficult for the corners to get in a defendable position. Stanton sees this pressure, deals with it, throws over the top of the rusher. A great catch by Michael Floyd for another touchdown.
So if you're wondering where Michael Floyd has been,
he's been around.
He's here.
He showed up today.
And Drew Stanton has. Cardinals have not missed a beat. Extra point. And the best record in the NFL belongs to this team for a reason. In his 3rd year from Notre Dame, first 2-touchdown game for Michael Floyd, importantly giving the Cardinals in a clash of division leaders a 14-0 advantage here. A drive of 77 yards and 80 yards before that. Drew Stanton now with 5 touchdown passes this year. He has not turned the ball over. Jeremy Ross standing back in the end zone if he gets a chance from Chandler Catanzaro on the kick. Just over 6 minutes gone in the opening quarter. There'll be no opportunity. Lions will take over on offense at the 20-yard line and a deep hole. Let's check in down on the field with Jennifer Hale.
Well, Chris, ironically, Drew Stanton was one of Matt Stafford's first and most impactful NFL mentors. Stanton was the 3rd quarterback in that Lions locker room the year Detroit drafted Stafford, and he gave him a lot of lessons, not just about football, but also about how to be a pro under difficult circumstances. Matt's never forgotten that, always been grateful for it. They've always been good friends. In fact, Chris, Matt was one of the first people to call and congratulate Drew this week on the birth of his daughter, Emrick East.
Theo Reddick getting running back from the 20 on first down. Stafford on the move. That's his tight end, Eric Ebron, who missed the last 3 games with a hamstring injury. Brandon Pettigrew is inactive today. Joseph Fourier is active along with Kellen Davis.
It'll be important to get them involved early in this football game, and it's early yet. It's only 10 minutes gone in this first quarter. You almost feel like Detroit needs to get something going early in this game. That 1 3 and out and then answered by the Arizona score, really get them down early.
Joyce Bell checks back in at running back. On 2nd and 3, he gets the carry. And Bell gets the first down. Joyce Bell is going into Cardinal territory. Shoved out of bounds inside the 41-yard line.
2 of the best run defenses in the NFL here, and you'll see this is all Joyce Bell. Gets clogged up here in the middle, but he breaks a tackle by Mentor there, bounces off a couple of his own teammates, and then finds some open grass there on the outside. Calvin Johnson on Patrick Peterson, just almost gives up on the play.
Bell coming off his best average, over 4 yards of carry last week in the win against Miami. Theo Riddick checks in and gets the handoff and slips inside the 39-yard line. Again, Reggie Bush inactive with the ankle injury. I was talking to him on the field before the game. He thought he could go, got hurt last week when he was carrying the ball in the red zone. He said he'll be ready for the Patriots next week.
You know what? Theo Riddick is almost a Reggie Bush clone. Obviously, he's not doesn't have the game-breaking ability as him. But with those three, when they're healthy later in the year, I think that's one of the reasons they kept him out. They need him healthy for the stretch run here in Detroit.
Bell, tough yards to the 35-yard line. It'll bring up third down. They need to get down inside the 31 to get a first down.
You know, one thing that I really like about George Bell as opposed to Theo Riddick and Reggie Bush is that he always seems to be falling forward. Reggie has a tendency to take some negative plays, but you get a guy like George Bell going forward, could be some positive, make some positive plays for this Detroit offense. They got a big third down here, Chris. You see if Arizona dials up blitz. They have all 9 guys sitting at the line of scrimmage.
Underneath, Bell will be stopped short of the first down. Rashad Johnson in that secondary of defensive backs that are played 6 or 7 at a time by this Cardinal team. On 4th and short, no gamble. Remember, there were 2 fake punts with Sam Martin passing the ball last week. They're going to go for a field goal try from Matt Prater of 50 yards. The Lions have made just 11 of 22 field goals as a team this year. It hit the upright and went through. A bounce goes right for the Lions. Prater from 50. And let's listen. It's only a sweet sound if it goes in that way for the kicker, and for Matt Prater and the Lions, it's good. It's scary for opposing teams when they come here to Arizona. Undefeated at home this season are the Cardinals, and the Super Bowl will be played here 77 days from now. Ted Ginn back to receive, and Sam Martin kicking off. Cardinals take over on offense with a 14-3 advantage from our booth, and a great view here with Rondé Barber, Chris Myers. And glad you're watching the NFL on Fox. And well, the Lions have made a habit in their last 3 wins of coming from behind at the very end. They're going to have to come from behind in this one if they intend to pull it out.
It'll be a little bit more difficult today, Chris, with this Arizona defense. When the pressure's on, they get even more aggressive on that side of the ball. And so we'll have to watch how Matthew Stafford is able to deal with that. But so far today, the story is this Arizona offense with Drew Stanton coming in, some quick strikes. They established the running game a little bit. See if they can keep that going.
Ellington as a receiver in the slot on first down from the 20. Stanton goes underneath to Fitzgerald. And Larry Fitzgerald across the 40. Nothing ignites this Arizona crowd like Larry Fitzgerald.
Drew Stanton does a good job being patient in the pocket here. Larry Fitzgerald at the top of your screen. Wait. The ball's there underneath the zone. DeAndre Levy can't make the initial tackle. It's another big play for this Cardinals offense.
A gain of 22, and Stanton is 7 out of 9. He's already over 150 yards passing, and the Cardinals are on the move. Here's Ellington straight ahead across the 45. Let's get a game break and check in with Joel Klatt. Joel? Thanks, Joel. Those rookie receivers, John Brown has been a headliner here. Already a couple of catches in this game. Stanton going deep for Floyd. There's a flag down, and it's knocked away at the last moment by Rasheem Mathis.
We talked earlier about how Michael Floyd,
while the quarterback was in the pocket, illegal contact, defense, number 31, 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
just talking about how he's been marginalized a little bit in this offense. He came in as the fourth leading receiver, but they're taking chances and shots at him today. We know that he has that big play ability. Leading yards per catch receiver on this football team, and Drew Stanton early in this game is not scared to lay it up to big number 15.
And there were 10 penalties last week on the Lions. Jim Caldwell said we have to clean that up. They've already been hit with quite a few here in the opening quarter. It's given the Cardinals extra opportunities. Ellington to carry. And maybe a yard. You talked about the Lions defense, #1 against the run. The #1 defense coming in. In fact, they're allowing an NFL best just under 16 points a game. Cardinals have already put 14 on the board.
And only 283 yards allowed per game, and they're already sitting at 173 here in this game. They're definitely going to have to stand up. They've won games this year because of how stout their defense have been. It hasn't shown up so far today. We'll see if they tighten up here as the game goes on.
Second down. Completes the pass to Ellington, who's knocked down right away by DeAndre Levy, who leads the Lions in tackles, and it'll bring up third down. Drew Stanton from Farmington Hills, Michigan, and had a rough start, drafted by the Lions, but was injured his first year, and then after 3 starts was benched, and then he was part of that 0-16 team. And now he's starting against the Lions with a chance to lead a team to the Super Bowl. He'll let the quarter run out. 2 touchdown passes from Drew Stanton. And the leaders of the West lead the leaders of the North in an NFC showdown. It's 14-3 at the end of 1 quarter on Fox. Start of the second quarter here in Arizona, just down the road from Phoenix. Rondé Barber, Chris Myers, and crew in a battle of NFC heavyweights, and the Cardinals have come out swinging on a third down and a tipping point early for this Lions defense. Taylor in as a receiver. Stephon Taylor, the running back. On 3rd and 5. Wide open is John Brown. And he zooms down inside the 15 of the Lions.
That had to be a bust on this Lions defense. You see the confusion right there between Cassius Vaughn and DeAndre Levy, leaving John Brown wide open. Terrell Austin doesn't ask his defensive backs, the guys in the secondary, to play a lot of man coverage, but they brought a couple of blitzes today, Chris, and in each instance, Arizona's been able to win the battle, and that was a huge mistake there by Detroit on that crucial third down.
And a colossal gain of 30 yards. Here goes Stanton again. Intercepted in the middle of the field. It's a Lions takeaway. Josh Bynes comes away with it.
Well, they needed to make a big play, and Josh Bynes is a guy that Terrell Austin told us has great ball skills, and we saw it right there. Drew Stanton stared this ball down. He actually had an open guy over the middle, but Josh Bynes with a big interception, a crucial stop for Detroit.
After the takeaway, Stanton's first interception of this season and first in his last 156 attempts. And Stafford on first down has to throw on the run and incomplete. Trying to get it to Joyce Bell, they got knocked down. It was the longest string in the NFL, 156 without a pick until Josh Bynes, the former Raven, who has been coming on for this Detroit team.
Absolutely. He's taking some snaps on defense for Tahir Whitehead in some of their nickel situations, and they were raving about him these last couple of weeks. We've seen a lot of him. We'll see a lot more of him today, some situational football.
There has not been an attempt yet to Calvin Johnson. Stafford running for cover. Goes down at the 20. And let's get a game break out of Kurt Menevee. Kurt?
Well, good matchup between the Packers and the Eagles, at least on paper. Right now, it's all Green Bay. Micah Hyde takes the punt return, 75 yards for the touchdown, and right now at Lambeau Field. Packers are on top 17-0 after the first quarter. Chris, Rondé, and Jay.
Thanks, Kurt. On 3rd and 12. Six defensive backs for the Cardinals. Are they coming? Yes, they are. Stafford throws and open is Golden Tate, stumbling across the 45 for a first down. He leads the NFL in third down catches, and he showed you why right there.
Well, this is a great route in the slot here by Golden Tate. You see him right there. Pressure by Arizona, runs the out, runs the up. Gerard Powers is nowhere near him. He's been doing that to people all year long, Chris. He takes quite a blow here, but he stood in and delivered a crucial pass on third down. That Lions defense got to stop. I thought that was the most important play of this first half. They needed to get out of that backed up situation there.
On first down, Bell carries for Detroit, spins around. Matthew Stafford now, after that completion, 20,000 career passing yards in this his 71st game, so the fastest to that mark in NFL history. When you think about Kurt Warner got there in 76 games, Dan Marino in 74. And Stafford hitting the mark and digging the Lions out of trouble.
Those numbers, obviously, because of the amount of attempts he had in years past, they're down this year, but he's seen a lot of football. He's done a lot of good things.
Second and 9. Pass is caught. That's Eric Ebron, the rookie tight end. It'll be short of the first down. We have not seen Stafford attempt to throw to Calvin Johnson.
Calvin Johnson is being covered primarily by Patrick Peterson so far today. A lot of combination coverages. Man underneath with Patrick Peterson. He always has a safety over the top of him. We'll get you pictures of that later, but that makes the matchup inside even more crucial. Somebody has to cover Golden Tate, and so far, Matt Stafford's been able to find some of these underneath receivers today.
Calvin Johnson splits to the top of your screen with Peterson on him on 3rd and 2.
Golden Tate right there in the slot.
Stafford throws, and there it is. Calvin's first catch, and good for a Lions first down.
Just a simple pitching catch here. Calvin Johnson. See, the offset tight end is an indicator to the defense that that's going to be a speed out. That's a speed out. Quarterback sprinting out of the pocket, getting the ball out to the flat really quick. It's a great play on 3rd and short, and it gives a first down for Detroit.
And Calvin Johnson told us his right ankle is much better than it's been in a month. Second game back after missing time, but the Lions are on a 4-game win streak. Blitz coming. Flag down. Stafford gets rid of it. Tate was in the area. Sam Acho coming in on Stafford. The Cardinals last Sunday had a season-high 6 sacks in their win over the Rams. They've yet to get one today.
Personal foul, grabbing the face mask. Offense, number 67. 15-yard penalty, replay, first down.
That call is on left guard Rob Sims. And the Cardinals have put pressure on Stafford. And this will back the Lions up all the way back into Detroit territory.
We talked about penalties early in this game with Detroit. Finally getting a drive going and hampered by a personal foul penalty. 1st and 25. Matthew Stafford, his offense has to get some of this back. Try to give themselves a manageable 2nd and 3rd down opportunities coming up.
Underneath, Theo Riddick doesn't get much, but he is on the Arizona Cardinal side of the field around the 47-yard line. It'll be 2nd and about 20 here. So far in the game, Stafford 7 out of 8, 68 yards, but only a field goal. Joyce Bell checks back in. Dale Buchanan threatening as if he's coming. A late rush. Pass is completed to Jeremy Ross, who slips a tackle and fights hard to get down around the 40. It'll bring up 3rd down.
Some big hidden yardage there past Arizona, who is probably, Chris, the best tackling team in football. I mean, I know they've given up some yards in the past this year, but they've been able to stay in ball games and been very effective on defense because they don't miss tackles. And Jeremy Ross was able to slip a couple there and get some extra yardage.
On third down, 6 defensive backs for the Cardinals. Stafford on the move. Kind of sidearms it, diving. There's a flag down, and the catch is no good. And let's check the flag. Calvin Johnson tried to make a spectacular grab. It's like holding. Now it'll be 4th down if the penalties decline.
Holding, offense, number 66. That penalties decline, the result of the play, 4th down.
Well, Adrian Waddle, the right tackle, called for the infraction. Declined, so that it'll be a punting situation for the Lions. Sam Martin has already been busy today. Came in with an average of just over 47 yards a boot. There's Ted Ginn. And this is that area of a fake, but since it was done twice last week, you would think the Cardinals would be prepared and the Lions would bypass that and play field position. Fair catch called for. It drops. And down right away around the 7-yard line by Julian Stanford. Excellent work by Sam Martin. And the Cardinals, who have a 14-3 lead, have the football with 9 minutes before the half. Thursday night, Fox Sports 1 has a Big 12 showdown. It's 13th-ranked K-State against West Virginia. 7 Eastern on Thursday on Fox Sports 1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. From the 7-yard line. Andre Ellington on first down. Slips a tackle. Just short of the 15-yard line. Arizona drives today have resulted in touchdown, and then they were all the way at the Detroit 14 before the interception ended that drive.
Uncharacteristically today, Chris, this Detroit defense has given up 4 passes of plus 20 yards. And that's like the standard good defenses. They don't want runs over 6-12, and they don't want pass plays over 16 or 20. And to have that many on this defense is pretty shocking early in this football game.
Ellington, it'll bring up 3rd down and short. Since Carson Palmer went down injured, Drew Stanton, remember, he came in to rally them against the Rams last week. In this game, he has over 270 yards passing in what is just about a half of football. He had 2 touchdowns today. Now, if you're looking in the West, in the NFC West, the Seahawks lost earlier today. The 49ers won. And if you're a Lions fan in the North, the Packers are leading big right now against Philadelphia. Bears beat the Vikings. 3rd and 2. Pass is caught but knocked down right away. John Carlson. Issa Abdul-Quddus was there, but it was good enough for a 1st down.
We see it there again. Drew Stanton understanding of this offense. Whenever there's pressure, one of these receivers, and it's going to be Carlson right here at tight end, has to adjust. They feel it coming. He sees DeAndre Levy coming through that gap, turns around, ball is right in his chest. It's a big conversion on 3rd and short for Arizona.
From the 19-yard line, Robert Hughes and Ellington in the backfield. It'll be Ellington, and he squeezes through up near the 29-yard line. Looks like he's just short of another Cardinal 1st down. Ellington had only 28 yards rushing last week, and that was a season low, but he's their go-to guy on the ground.
Watch this little skip cut right here. Just sticks his foot in the ground, turns up the field. I love watching this guy run, Chris. He's got a unique style. He says he patterns it after Jamal Charles, and Barry Sanders was his idol growing up. But I'm telling you, get him in open field, it's hard to get him on the ground.
His 11th carry met hard, but he slips the tackle and gets the 1st down. And Ndamukong Suh ran into him, and that's 193 pounds against a guy who's 310.
Well, you know what he did? What he did there was, it just shows how tough this guy is. He takes pride in every yard that he tries to get. And Dominican Sue right there firing off on sin line to center. Hits him square in the backfield. It's amazing that he broke that tackle, but smartly gets us forward, gets the first down, keeps the chains moving.
Under 6 minutes to go before the half. Taylor checks in at running back. Stanton set to throw. And he's going deep. Receiver slipped and fell. It was Michael Floyd who was trying to get to the football. Let's go to Kurt Menefee for a game break. Kurt?
Packers may not have the best record in the league, but they're making their argument for being the hottest team in the league right now. Jordy Nelson from Aaron Rodgers, 27-yard score. 24-3, they lead the Eagles. That's 66-3. They've outscored their opponents in the first halves, the last two ball games. There's still 10 minutes left in the first half in this one, Chris.
Wow, piling it on there. Now remember, the Lions have already beaten Green Bay, and the Cardinals have already beaten the Eagles. On second and 10, Stephon Taylor's the running back. That's Floyd in motion. And we got a whistle. Timeout, Cardinals.
First charge, timeout, Arizona.
Play clock was running down and quickly called. We'll have more from Arizona in a moment. It's the best defense against the best record so far in the NFL. On second and 10 after the Cardinal timeout. Screen to Ellington, who slips and falls, and the Lions are quickly there. It'll bring up third and long. But so far today, Drew Stanton from Harrison High School in Farmington Hills, Michigan. He won a couple of state championships. Started quarterback at Michigan State from 2004 to 2006. Drafted by the Lions in 2007, second round, started 4 games in 3 seasons there. Signed by the Jets, but traded a week later when Tebow showed up to the Colts, and then signed here in Arizona. He has backed up #1 overall picks from Carson Palmer to Andrew Luck to Matthew Stafford. But it's his show now. On third and 14, open Fitzgerald, and he hangs on. No! An excellent hit jarred the ball loose. A well-thrown ball by Drew Stanton, and it was Glover Quinn who delivered the shot.
Really well-designed play here. Running inside, kind of reduce the formation so he can expand them out to the out, but Quinn makes a nice hit. Clean hit, too, on Larry Fitzgerald, and jars that one loose.
Drew Butler drives this punt deep to the 26. There's a flag down right away as Ross gets across the 30 and is shoved back.
Here we go, fellas. That's the way we run. That's me, guys.
We'll check the flag. No penalties accepted on the Cardinals so far today. There have been 4 accepted, at least 7 flagged against the Lions.
During the return, holding, return team, number 39. 10-yard penalty. Detroit keeps the ball. First down, timeout.
Mohamed Cisse called for the penalty. The Lions on offense in a moment. Some of the best corners in the NFL against one of the better receiving tandems when Calvin Johnson is healthy. Only 1 catch for Johnson so far. He's been targeted twice. On first down, Bell to carry it, has a hole. Joint Bell powering up across the 34-yard line. And a first down for the Lions.
Arizona had
Reggie Bush looking on.
Arizona had this play snipped out, but you'll see number 95 here, Tommy Kelly, falls down right in the gap, the hole. Joint Bell skips past him and big run.
Gain of 13. Theo Riddick checks in at running back. Pass is almost intercepted. Stepping in front was John Powers, who already has 3 interceptions this year.
Oh, he's got to come down with that one. What a great read by Gerard Powers there on this slant route to Calvin Johnson. I know it was a bullet of a pass, but it hit him right where it's supposed to, right in his hands, and he just can't come down with the interception. That would have been an enormous turnover right there.
On second down 10, Jeremy Ross lined up behind Calvin Johnson. That's the tight end, Eric Ebron, in motion to the right of the quarterback. Bell gets the carry and powers straight ahead. Just short of the 40. Joyke Bell running hard. And the Lions have not been happy with their running game. Their per carry average is what Jim Caldwell has been bothered about.
They're getting some good push up front here. Travis Swanson, who's in for the injured Larry Warford, him and Dominic Raiola been moving some of these tackles in the middle. It's allowed for that run game, but still sets up a long 3rd and 5 here, Chris.
The Cardinals have 8 different blitzes for 3rd down for this game. Dialed up. Will they call one here? Pressure coming, pass to an open Eric Ebron. Flag is down. The defender was down. Cromartie was on the ground when the pass was completed.
And I think you're going to get offensive pass interference here on Eric Ebron.
Pass interference. Offense, number 85. 10-yard penalty. Replay, 3rd down.
Antonio Cromartie is such a big physical corner. You can afford to put him out on tight ends. Now, it almost looked like he was stumbling there, but the extended arm by Ebron makes it easy for them to call that pass interference. Unfortunate, comes up begging, but it's a big penalty for Detroit.
That is the 6th penalty accepted against the Lions for 50 yards. Now 3rd and 15. Avoids the rush. Open for Calvin Johnson. The ball was late. Patrick Peterson ran over to cover.
Patrick Peterson was covering Calvin Johnson there for a long time. He had him open. But the one thing we know about Detroit, when Matt Stafford scrambles, you better run to the goal line, because that is where this ball is going. And Calvin Johnson's pulling away from Patrick Peterson. Hits him in the chest. Chris, he should have caught that.
Well, and if he leads him, it's a touchdown.
Quarterback was under duress, though. Ball gets to his receiver. Calvin Johnson, one of the best in the league. I expect him to come down with that ball.
Fair catch called for. Ball bounces the Cardinals' way and quickly down to cross the 35-yard line. 2 quick touchdowns for Arizona. All the Lions have mustered a 50-yard field goal. Last time the Cardinals were 8-1, they were the Chicago Cardinals. In 1948, they finished 11-1 and won that division. They averaged 33 a game, but lost to the Eagles in the NFL title game 7-0. That was then dubbed the Snow Bowl. The last NFL title game played officially in the snow. Both of these teams off to great starts. The last time the Lions were 7-2 was back in the early 90s. And surprise teams to lead their divisions. And if you look at statistics, you wouldn't think these teams would have the records they have.
Offensive statistics. They've both struggled in various areas on offensive side of the ball, specifically running it. They've been able to come back. Defense has been a big part of that. Detroit's defense got to stand up here again for us.
They have held their ground despite numerous penalties. Ellington up across the 40-yard line. C.J. Mosley making the tackle. Nick Fairley inactive today for this Lions defense. And 3 quarterbacks are active. Bruce Arians opted. They acquired Ryan Lindley back from the San Diego practice squad. He had been with the team. Logan Thomas, the rookie, is officially the backup for Drew Stanton. As we have hit the 2-minute warning. And a battle of the best in the NFC, the pole position. Cardinals with a 14-3 first half lead. Follow your favorite team all season long. Go to itunes.com/NFL. From the 40-yard line, 2 timeouts for the Cardinals. Lions have all 3 on 2nd and 6. Pass is intercepted. A takeaway, and it's Cassius Vaughn. Run out of bounds. Second interception of this game for the Lions defense on Drew Stanton.
Cassius Vaughn You'll see him on the right side of your screen, and Drew Stanton tries to throw this double slant. And Cassius Vaughn is actually covering John Brown, or Cassius Vaughn is covering John Brown. This is the guy he's covering right here. Sees the slant coming into the outside receiver. Makes him a remarkable read, a remarkable play. Detroit defense has stepped up big all year. The second interception gives them scoring opportunity here with under 2 minutes in the half.
The nickel back with his second interception of the year, spotted at the 19 after a return of 24 yards. And now the Lion offense, thanks to its defense, is in striking position. Bell straight ahead. Again, the Lions have all 3 of their timeouts here.
You got the #1 defense in football, Chris, and yes, they've given up some yards, 231 so far today. But what's made them great is their ability to make plays when it matters, and they have confidence in themselves that's bred by having done it over and over and over again all year. And they've come up with 2 big plays, one stopping a score earlier, and that one to put them in scoring position here.
Bell again. Knocked down at the 14-yard line by Larry Foote, a one-time Lion from Detroit Pershing High School. And the interceptions, Josh Bynes, and then moments ago, Cassius Vaughn. The Lion defense has stepped up, and that's why the Lions could be patient and rally in the fourth quarter as they have in 3 straight games to win, because their defense keeps them in it. Clock running here on 3rd and 5. Under 40 seconds to play at the snap. Stafford. Sideline throw is caught. That's Eric Ebron, the rookie tight end. Will check the spot. That's not good enough for a first down. Lions will probably use a timeout here.
That spot looked a little short to me, right?
He went out of bounds, so they did stop the clock. They're officially saying he was out of bounds in that spot, so they don't need to use a timeout unless they want to discuss things. But they're arguing, looks like they're debating the spot, and under 2 minutes, that would be an official booth review, and they usually don't worry about that unless there's a large discrepancy in a yard or 2. But this is pretty big here.
Well, let's assume that this is short of a first down.
We're going to get a measurement. So no timeout assessed.
Well, where they spotted it, it was clearly short of the first down, but where he went out of bounds, to me, it looked like it may have been a first down. But anyways, let's get back to the fact that it's 4th and 1. Jim Caldwell has a decision to make. Does he put his kicker out here, take the 3 points, or does he go for this trying to get a score?
What would you do?
Well, you're on the road.
You're a defensive guy.
You're on the road. You have timeouts. You still have all 3 of your timeouts. I'm saying he's going to go for it. I would leave Matt Stafford out here.
The other side of that, Ronnie, if you go for it and don't get it with your 3 timeouts, you could try and pin the Cardinals in there, force them to do something offensively, maybe get a late long field goal. Prater has already made a 50-yarder. Our rules analyst, Mike Pereira, saying it should be reviewed upstairs and by the home office in New York, Dean Blandino and Al Riveron, and they will review the spot, and that's the right call by the league office in New York. 30 seconds remain. It was ruled catch 4th down, but they're reviewing it. Under review, and let's bring out our rules analyst, Mike Pereira. Mike, does this look like a first down to you?
It certainly does to me. I know one thing, the spot that they put it at was not a good spot. To me, here you see him going out of bounds at the 9-yard line. That's where the ball appears to have crossed, and yet they put the ball just inside the 10. I think you used that first shot that we've shown. You know, although I see so few of these overturned, I think you've got enough here to at least move the ball to the 9-yard line and then measure if you have to.
All right, thank you. Let's check back with Jerome Boger, who has taken a review of this out from under the hood.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands 4th down.
Well, I agree with Mike Pereira. It looked like a first down, but as he said, so few are overturned. It looked like he got to the 9. It's spotted at the 10, and Jim Caldwell has his quarterback out there.
Yeah, like I said, this point in the game, going into half, you have to score on the road. You have to score touchdowns on the road. It's going to be tough to score. You got an opportunity here. Just take it. You got 3 timeouts still.
Was hoping to draw him off, calls a timeout, lets the play clock run, and
no dummies on that defensive line for Arizona there. I don't know. I may have tried it, Chris. I may have snapped that ball, let your quarterback inch in for a couple of yards, get that first down. But
well, I'm sure Jim Caldwell is thinking, well, the last 3 games, it's been nothing. We've rallied in the 4th quarter to win games, so we might as well stay close so we could do that here.
And another element, too, is to remember they're getting the ball coming out at a halftime. So you get your 3 points here, you get the chance to come down on offense, 2 scores. That may have been a factor in that decision.
Coming up at the half, the Rams stunning the Visa halftime report. Highlights of all the games, including the Rams upsetting the Broncos. And Cardinal fans, so the Rams...
Say what?
Yes, an unbelievable 28-yard field goal try. Matt Prater good from 50, but he needed the upright and a bounce to do it. And he nails this one. So the second interception of the first half by this Lions defense of Drew Stanton. And on a tough call, they play it safe for 3, and they're down 8.
And this is what the Detroit Lions do. They've done it all year long. They've hung around by playing good defense. Offense, where they have struggled, has been enough at the end of football games, and I tell you what, it's shaping up to be just that in the second half of this one.
And you could make the argument if their field goal kicking was better that they could have won games at Carolina and that tough loss to Buffalo. 2 for 2 field goals today. Fox Tonight Thanksgiving comes early, so go ahead and enjoy yourself with an all-new episode of TV's best comedies. Guaranteed to leave you hungry for more. Sunday, Fun Day, tonight, 8 Eastern, 7 Central on Fox. We enjoy a game from Mountain Time with Rondé Barber, Jennifer Hale, Chris Myers, and our crew. Our producer Mike Burks, Michael Frank, our director, enjoying a matchup of the NFC Elite. Packers are leading the Eagles 30-3 as they near the half in Green Bay. And never before has a host team of a Super Bowl, the Super Bowl is here, gone on to make it to the Super Bowl, something the Cardinals are up against. But first they have to worry about the playoffs. Ted Ginn is going to bring it out. It's going to be knocked down across the 15-yard line. Special teams play by Josh Bynes, who had the interception a little bit earlier in the game. Golden Tate a bit frustrated with just a couple of catches. In honor of Veterans Day, for every point scored during its 32 Salute to Service games, the NFL will donate $100 each to the nonprofit partners, among those the Pat Tillman Foundation, the USO, and the Wounded Warrior Project. You can help out. Join the Salute. Visit NFL.com/salute. And since 2011, almost $2.5 million have been donated.
Those are great pictures of all those guys saluting during the games past couple of years.
Couple of touchdown passes, couple of interceptions by Drew Stanton, and field goals for Matthew Stafford and the Lions, and it's 14-6. Detroit gets the football to start the second half. Right now, let's head to Los Angeles for all the scores and highlights. Kurt Menefee and the guys in the Visa halftime report.
Whoever line up against me, I'm ready for whatever challenge they want to bring. Watch me be great.
Cardinals getting ready to kick off to the Lions to start the third quarter with a 14-6 advantage. Today's excitement brought to you by Nissan. Drew Stanton from Michigan, former Lions draft pick, starting in place of Carson Palmer with 2 touchdown passes, but in his last 6 pass attempts, suffering a couple of interceptions. That's allowed the Lions to stay close. The #1 defense, the Detroit Lions, and of course Cardinals' best record in the game with Rondé Barber, Chris Myers, and the Lions defense has played well, but the Cardinal defense has played even better.
Well, the only reason this is a game right now is because of the Lions defense. The interception going in for a score, the one that set up the last field goal. Detroit's got to get something going on offense for me, Chris. They're 2 for 7 on third down. Matthew Stafford is under 80 yards passing. Golden Tate, who I raved about in the open, and Calvin Johnson only have 3 catches between them. Yes, it's about Arizona's defense. They're playing well, but we need to get something production-wise out of Matt Stafford in this offense in the second half.
And only a few attempts in the area of Calvin Johnson. He has just 1 catch. A pass that you thought he should have had would have been a big gainer. Golden Tate has 2 catches. Chandler Canonzaro kicking off, and Jeremy Ross deep enough to down it. And the Lions offense will take over at the 20-yard line. Let's check back in down on the field with Jeff.
Well, Chris, Larry Fitzgerald headed into the Cardinals locker room early before halftime because he tweaked his left knee. But Bruce Arians visited with him in that locker room. They both decided Larry wants to try to give it a go this second half. He came back out of the locker room sprinting, a very determined look on his face, Chris, so he is not ready to call this day over yet.
And Jed, he surpassed the 12,000-yard receiving mark. We talked about the numbers that Matthew Stafford surpassed in his career, and this his 71st NFL start. But Stafford interested in rallying the Lions, division leaders in the NFC North at 7-2. Stafford's pass is on target. There's Calvin Johnson to the 35 and a Lions first down.
You want to get going early in the second half. Why not dial up big number 81 Calvin Johnson working against Patrick Peterson? It's going to be something we'll see the entire half. This second half, they mentioned that Pat wouldn't be on the entire game, Chris. I haven't seen him not shadow Calvin Johnson all day long. We'll see how this matchup plays out here.
Joyke Bell has run well for the Lions. 8 carries, 58 yards. He's the back. He gets the carry on first down. Joyke Bell! He's in Cardinal territory inside the Arizona 45. Rashad Johnson may have saved a touchdown.
Joyke Bell's been doing this all day today against this Arizona front. See the good block there, but Antonio Cromartie has an opportunity right there to make that tackle. I don't know why he didn't put his face into him, but gets him into the secondary, and Rashad Johnson has to make a tough tackle. Big gain, though, for Detroit.
A gain of 21. Bell averaging almost 9 yards a carry this afternoon, and he stays in. That's Golden Tate in motion. Bell gets the handoff. He's knocked backward and swarmed under here in the desert. Calais Campbell and Frosty Rucker on that defensive line. Also Tommy Kelly helping out there. Lions come in having won 4 in a row. The Cardinals have won 5 in a row. We have an injured player. And it looks like it is Tommy Kelly. Backup defensive end. Looking at his hand and wrist area. While Kelly is tended to on the sideline, the defense with a 2nd and 13. Theo Riddick checks in for the Lions in the backfield. 3 receivers to the right of Stafford, top of your screen. Stafford goes down. It's a Cardinals sack. Alex Okafor is 4th of the season.
Keep talking about this Arizona defense not generating a lot of sacks, even though they had 6 last week, but this was all on the secondary. You see Okafor outside there, but Matthew Stafford is looking for Theo Riddick right here. Good coverage by Dale Buchanan. Doesn't let it go quick, gives Okafor time to get in on that sack and set up a very long 3rd down here.
They need 20. Stafford has time, floats it for Calvin Johnson, who's run out of bounds, short of the first down. Patrick Peterson laid out, but was running with him. It'll be a gain of about 13. Looks like Peterson feeling the pain of reaching back towards his right hip or backside. And here comes Sam Martin to punt. Would have been a 58 or 59-yard field goal try. So they're about 6 yards short.
And that's what. Watch him trip over Big Calvin, and yeah, that's on your derriere.
Inside the 10, there's a flag down back at midfield. 2 of them, actually. 6 penalties on the Lions in the first half have hurt. Let's see if this is another one that will be accepted or tacked on.
Holding, kicking team, number 93. The 10-yard penalty will be enforced from the end of the play. Arizona keeps the ball, first down.
That's on defensive lineman George Johnson. Penalties were a problem with this Lions team last year, and they have been today. One of the many picturesque scenes here in the Valley of the Sun from the 20. After the penalty was tacked on, Ellington carries up to the 24-yard line. Andre Ellington, some tough yards in the first half. That is 13th carry. Also had a couple of catches. And the possessions today after the Cardinals came out with a couple of touchdown passes from Stanton to Floyd.
Yeah, they were on fire early, weren't they? And since then, the 2 interceptions significantly cooled down, but I think that has in large part been because Detroit has picked it up on their side of the ball on defense.
Had 5 defensive backs in for the Lions on that previous down. On second down, a screen to Ellington. There's a flag down right away. Ellington gets a first down and goes out of bounds. Flag back in the area of offensive holding, but we'll see. This would be
Holding, offense, number 74. 10-yard penalty, replay, second down.
And that is the first penalty on the Cardinals today. The Lions last week in the win over the Dolphins had 10 penalties. They've had 7 that have been accepted today and another 3 that were not accepted. It's on Paul Van Eyck of the Cardinals here.
Paul Van Eyck is going to be in for this type of day all day against Ndamukong Suh, and just the grab to the front of the jersey pulled him down. Play was going opposite him. He really didn't need to do it, but sticks him way back in a hole now.
Larry Fitzgerald back out. Bottom of your screen, he surpassed that 12,000 career yard mark. Second youngest to do it, Randy Moss got there first. Pass to the tight end. Up near the 30 or just short of it is John Carlson.
That was really good coverage there by Josh Bynes, but Drew Stanton just threw a bullet into here to his tight end. When he makes these quick, decisive decisions, he's been really good today.
Drew Stanton called this, we sat with him after Friday's practice here in Arizona, a career-making moment. He had been in survival mode through his different stops along the way with different teams and backing up quarterbacks, but has trust in Bruce Arians, his head coach, who has him running the show. On third down, Robert Hughes. Hughes had a big gainer in the first half for this Arizona team, and good enough for the first down. Looking at the numbers through the first half, the one thing that jumps out, we know that the Cardinals came in with 19 takeaways, tied for most in the league, and they haven't had one yet. But when you get to the fourth quarter, that's when they seem to take away the most.
Turnover differentials highly in their favor, down so far today. And conversely, Detroit is only +2 on the year, now +4.
Drew Stanton going deep for John Brown. Knocked away at the last moment by a head of ball. We have seen that play click a few times for the Cardinals.
Well, it's not often you get both safeties here, Glover Quinn and James Ahedebo on John Brown. Passed off the coverage there, too deep. Tough situation for a safety to make, but nice play.
Spotted at the 31 on second and 10. That's caught by Jerron Brown, who's knocked back when he got up near the 35. It'll be third down. Again, clarification, Jerron Brown, second-year player from Clemson. He's from a city and small town in South Carolina, same hometown as jazz great Dizzy Gillespie. The other side, of course, John Brown, the rookie from Pittsburgh State, who has 5 touchdown catches already this year, including 3 fourth-quarter game winners. And now 5 wide receivers. Interesting strategy with 6 defensive backs here. Pass is caught by John Brown for a first down near midfield.
Chris, you bring 5 wide receivers into the football game. Detroit doesn't sub in with another defensive back, so you get a mismatch. John Brown versus James Ahedebo, and obviously John Brown, whose quick steps can run away from him, and Drew Stanton makes a nice throw out of the reach of the defender and converts on 3rd down there.
And John Brown with 4 catches today, so in every game he's played as a pro, he has at least 2 catches. After a gain of 13 from the 49 of Arizona, Ellington a mix-up in the backfield for a loss. The Lions poured in on him. It was a slow handoff, but give the rookie Kyle Van Noy credit for messing things up, and it looks like Ellington is in pain.
I'm not sure how much that was a mix-up in the backfield. It's just Terrell Austin called a blitz, and Kyle Van Noy was in the backfield before he even got the handoff.
Terrell Austin, the defensive coordinator, former defensive backs coach in Arizona, running the show for the Lions on defense.
And look at 95 here. He's almost there before he gives the ball to Andre Ellington.
Stephon Taylor, active for this game, was not active last week. Is in for Ellington at running back. After a loss of 7, Taylor gets the carry and runs hard to get back up near the 48. And we have another player down. It's James Ahedebo of the Lions, who, as we mentioned, bothered by a back injury during the week. He's in pain here. We will have more from Arizona in just a moment. Wednesday, Fox College Hoops on Fox Sports 1. A great early season matchup. The Blue Jays of Creighton trying to upset 19th ranked Oklahoma. Coverage at 8 Eastern on Fox Sports 1. Always streaming live on Fox Sports Go. And the Final Four awarded to this building in 2017. They have the Super Bowl, of course, upcoming with the Pro Bowl preceding. The College Football Championship the following year after the Super Bowl. As Ahedebo getting tended to over on the Lions sideline. Isa Abdul-Qaddus comes in for him at safety. And Drew Stanton for Floyd. They're battling, and it's knocked away. Going down the sideline, Darius Slay running right with him, and no flags.
Drew Stanton is not afraid to take shots down this field. We know that Bruce Arians has a bunch of shots, but it seems like there's been an inordinate amount today. And wow, Ziggy Ansah just runs right through the chest of Drew Stanton. That was a big hit there, Chris.
The defensive players within this game, as Drew Butler on 4th down, punts it. Ross at the 15 with a Lion offense, which has been barely threatening at the goal line. A couple of field goals is all they have, but their defense continuing to do the job. A crazy week 11 around the NFL. J.J. Watt caught a touchdown pass in the Texans' win over the Browns. Mike Evans, Rondé's former team, the rookie receiver, over 200 receiving yards as the Bucs beat the Redskins, and Jamal Charles led the Chiefs past the Seahawks. Theo Riddick in for the Lions on 1st down. Trailing here as they have been all afternoon. Eric Ebron catches it and is brought down at the 19. Well, Matthew Stafford told us, Rondé, that this offense, despite having won 4 in a row and a 7-2 record, he said we've yet to really be humming for all 4 quarters.
And they really haven't. And they're going to go hurry up here and try to get some rhythm into this offense. Their defense has kept it in, but they've struggled all year long being consistent, moving down the field and scoring points. Just change up, see if they can get something done here in the 3rd quarter.
Underneath, incomplete for Riddick. It'll be 3rd down. Stafford had to hurry it. That Cardinal defense, look, he only has 117 yards. Last week against the Rams, the Cardinals on defense used 19 different players.
This defense can morph into so many different variants, and whatever the offense brings, they can match it. They have unique personnel, guys that they can put in unique situations. You identify them who's best matchups, and you put them on them, and that's what we've seen today.
Blitz coming. Stafford has time, hits Calvin Johnson falling across the 31 for a first down. His fourth catch of the game and an important conversion for this Lion offense.
Really big. He was working on Patrick Peterson then, but when you talk about this second wave of defenders on this Arizona defense, Powers, Matthew, Dale Buchanan, who is a safety but really plays like a linebacker in this defense, and Justin Bethel, who had some critical snaps last week against St. Louis. That's why defensive coordinator Todd Bowles can have these unique, exotic looks, because he has some serious talent on the back end.
It's even allowed on first down. Stafford doesn't know where to go and gets rid of it. You mentioned defensive coordinator Todd Bowles. Hey, look, Michael Floyd made a catch out of bounds. There's a flag down.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense, number 96. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That's on the rookie, Kareem Martin.
The Cardinals did a good job covering up, nowhere for Matthew Stafford to throw that ball, and then Kareem Martin just does something dumb there. Ball's out of his hands, clearly taking 2 or 3 steps. You can't put the quarterback on the ground like that.
Moves it all the way up to the 46. Todd Bowles just got a contract extension. The team came to him after last week's win over the Rams, and he said he's humble and grateful. It shows you a lot about the organization.
Hey, they know they got something. Put it that way. He's a heck of a coach.
His defense trying to stop Bell, and they do. Larry Foote. He's the guy who doesn't wear down, leads the team in tackles at age 34.
We talked about all those other variables on this defense, those safeties, the corners, but the one guy that never comes off the field is this guy right here, Larry Foote, and he's been doing this all year long. He is the glue that holds this defense together. He's making plays all over the place. Call his name. You can't get enough of calling his name, Chris.
A former Michigan star, spent a year with the Lions in 2009, but was with Arians 2 different times with the Steelers. Now 2nd and 13. Empty backfield, timeout called for. That'll be the first of this half. Lions will have 2 remaining. The Cardinals with a 14-6 lead. Lions have the football. Two of the top 5 defenses in the league. Lions #1, the Cardinals, some of their stars today, keeping Detroit to a couple of field goals after the Lions timeout. 6 defensive backs on 2nd and 13. Pass is thrown incomplete. Riddick the target. Tyrann Mathieu is coming strong. It'll be 3rd down.
I tell you what, you give this defense time to decide what they're going to do, and it makes it so difficult to decide. Tyrann Mathieu is out of your screen up here somewhere. When this ball comes out to the flag, it looks like it's a half-field safety, but he's entering into the box and makes a play on that quick out by Matt Stafford. They are so unique, so diverse, man. It is fun to watch these guys play.
3 out of 9 on 3rd down. Stafford floats one deep, and that's going to be... Did he hold on intercepted Rashad Johnson? Yes, he did. It's the first takeaway for the Cardinals today. Their 20th of the season.
But Matthew Stafford tried to force that ball up to Calvin Johnson. You almost don't blame him, though. 3rd and long, it's just as good as a punt. This Arizona defense finds a way to make turnovers when it counts.
Rashad Johnson with the interception of Matthew Stafford. Just over 4 minutes in the 3rd quarter, and now the Cardinals on offense. Stephon Taylor remains in for Andre Ellington. Here's a flag.
False start. Offense, number 70. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
It's on right tackle Bobby Massey. James Ahedebo is back into the game in the Lions secondary with a left shoulder injury. Troy Nicholas, tight end, the rookie tight end for the Cardinals, had an ankle injury, was in the locker room. And we have not seen Ellington since he got beat up. Taylor to carry. And Taylor is knocked down. You talk to Cardinal personnel, no disrespect to others on the team, but they have said that 2 players they cannot afford to lose. They've already lost their starting quarterback and members on the defense, but Andre Ellington and left tackle Jared Valdir.
Valdir has only given up 1 sack if we counted this year. And Andre Ellington, yes, the offense goes through him in the running game, obviously, but also out of the backfield. He's their second leading receiver, and him on the sideline is not a good thing for Arizona.
He does have his helmet on. Stephon Taylor now in the slot as a receiver. On 2nd and 14. Pass goes that way. Good run away and run out of bounds by Rasheem Mathis. So it'll be 3rd down.
Well, the second half of this game, since really that early in that first quarter, we showed those stats of Drew Stanton, those quick explosive plays to start. But since then, this Lions defense has held its own. It's done its job. What they've done all year long. Get another 3rd and long situation set up for Arizona. And they've been good at this all year. We'll see what they come up with to try to stall this Detroit Lions defense now.
Stanton 15 out of 23, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He has time, middle of the field, and almost intercepted by Ahedebo. He was trying to get it to Brown, but Ahedebo made the play. John Brown was trying to get open.
Another one of those situations where they get a safety lined up on or matched up on a receiver, but Ahedebo with great anticipation. Man, this is about the 2nd or 3rd interception on both teams that should have went the other way. Drop, missed opportunity.
The defensive struggle continues. The punt by Butler. Jeremy Ross across the 35 and smothered there. He'll take over with 2:22 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Let's check in down on the field with Jennifer Hale.
Well, Chris, the Lions have had 3 come-from-behind wins, and the Cardinals are a known 4th-quarter team. Both head coaches, Jim Caldwell and Bruce Arians, discussed this with their respective squads at halftime. Both sides here ready for an exciting and intense final push. Arians told his Cardinals, 9-1 is in your hands. Don't let it slip away, Chris.
From the 36-yard line, Bell, the running back. Lions really had not been close to getting in the end zone. Golden Tate has the football, dancing around up to the 44-yard line. The Cardinal defense, you've talked about it, Rondé, how they like to blitz, and that's twice their normal rate.
That's a lot of pressures.
And that's why Stafford
Well, I tell you
has
what,
only completed 13 passes for 124 yards.
It's true. I tell you what you got to have. You got to have some talented players on the outside to be able to do that. Put your corners in a very structured position. And so far today, they've done a really good job taking away some pretty good threats for Detroit.
But a creative play. And now Bell trying to get the first down. It is not backward. Dan Williams, his weight is down. His game is up. Scrambling as if there was a loose ball, but there was no call for such right around the first down marker. I don't know, was that ball knocked out?
I saw the beanbag come out, so I'm not sure if it looked like they said he was down or not.
Lions got it back, it appeared.
But where he got tackled and where they marked the ball are not the same location. So
let's take a closer look at this.
Oh yeah, that ball's out.
The ball is out.
But it's a recovery by Rob Sims.
Yes, he on top of it, so they're going to be about a yard shy of a first down. Or did he recover it? It has to clearly show, and it does there. If we're going to get a challenge or a timeout. A measurement, okay. It's either a first down or it's going to be 3rd and 1. welcome those of you who were watching the Packers and Eagles. 39-6, Green Bay leading late in the third with Rondé Barber, Chris Myers, and crew. A measurement here, and that's how far. It's 3rd in inches for this Lions offense. 2 touchdown passes from Drew Stanton to Michael Floyd, and the 2 interceptions by Drew Stanton as the Lion defense hung tough, and the Lions have only amassed field goals. That's where we stand. A battle for the top seed in the NFC, the leader here, and Bruce Arians didn't hesitate. He said, yeah, this game is huge. The winner for this week anyway is the #1 seed in the NFC. 8-1 against 7-2. Riddick the carry, and it doesn't look like it. You wonder why Joyke Bell, who has had such a good game on the ground, was not in for that carry. We have an injured member of the Lions. Waddle is hurt. With 34 seconds remaining here in the third quarter.
Yeah, Chris, I don't know why Joyke Bell is not in the football game there. You get your 3rd down back, essentially a guy that doesn't run the ball as often. Theo Riddick is more the out of the backfield guy with Reggie Bush being out, but 3rd and 1, you didn't get it.
We certainly hope that Waddle is okay. And a quick recap for those of you tuning in. 8-1 Cardinals, 7-2 Lions. Drew Stanton, who was drafted by the Lions and went to Michigan State starting for the injured Carson Palmer, came out firing with 2 touchdown passes to Michael Floyd. The Lion defense #1 in the NFL coming in, grabbing a couple of interceptions, field goals for the Lions offense. As Waddle moves over to the sideline, and that's where we stand. On 4th and 1, the punting unit comes in. Again, worth mentioning that there were two times last week when the Lions lined up to punt. Sam Martin threw a pass, a fake. But in a 1-possession game, Jim Caldwell, who played it conservatively right before the half on 4th and inches to take 3, will boot it away. Fair catch called for by Ted Ginn at the 9. Let's check in with Kurt Menefee for a game break. Kurt?
Well,
thanks a lot, Kurt. 25 seconds remaining here in the third quarter. Leaders of the NFC West, as Waddle is being tended to, against the leaders of the NFC North. And, of course, the Packers chasing the Lions. Detroit beat Green Bay earlier this year, and they'll meet at the end of the regular season. As Ellington is back in, but brought down right away by Ziggy Ansah. And that should bring an end here. Looks like a Cardinal player slow getting up, and that's Ellington, who has been taking a beating today. As the third quarter winds down. Cardinals with a 14-6 lead. The Lions have been a come-from-behind team. They've won their last 3 games in the closing moments of the fourth quarter. Can they do it in Arizona? The NFL on Fox continues. We welcome you to the start of the fourth quarter. Arizona trying to go to 9-1. Calvin Johnson and the Lions trying to go to 8-2. Andre Ellington at 5'9", 193 pounds, has been in and out of the game, and he remains here, carrying it 15 times and catching it twice. Stanton to throw from his goal line, sets up a screen to Rob Hausler, who's got a first down, and the tight end lumbering to the 35.
What a great play call there, Chris, to get them out of a backed-up situation. See Rob Hausler right here at tight end, blocks down, but squeezes out. He's got Ted Larson out in front in the blocker. Jared Bell here. Clever. Get the defense to overcommit. Big play.
A 27-yard gain. 9 different receivers for Drew Stanton today. He's got Ellington in the clear with DeAndre Levy, and he just blows past it. Ellington all the way down around the 40 of the Lions. Both of these teams have come to life in the fourth quarter.
Big play here again. Back-to-back. His offense getting in motion. Get this guy out in space, and he's dangerous. DeAndre Levy, the leading tackler on the Detroit Lions, has no chance there. Move the field for Arizona. They've needed a drive like this all second half, and they're finally getting one.
A gain of 24. A couple of big gainers for this Cardinal offense. Lions jump.
Encroachment. Defense, number 91. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
That call on Jason Jones, 8 penalties against the Detroit Lions. And which one of these teams, division leaders, will come out of here with the W? Cardinals have won 5 in a row, and you see how their defense takes over in the fourth. But the Lions, with Matthew Stafford, even a side armor last week, have had dramatic wins for Detroit. A lot could happen here. Stanton has already hit a career high, 275 yards in this game passing. And Ellington is mowed down.
Talk about those fourth quarter comebacks for Detroit. And yeah, we had Jim Caldwell about that, and I thought he answered it great. He responded big. He said this team is not afraid of the big moment. At some point in this game, there's going to be a big moment. They're going to have to step up and make a play. And if they're like they have been all year, they will find a way to do it.
They've intercepted Stanton twice. On 2nd and 4, Ellington knocked backward. It'll be third down on the fringe of field goal range as Llewellyn makes the stop. And as Drew Stanton told us, every snap is precious. And he's not only talking about his career and his opportunity, this only his 8th start in his 8th year in the NFL. But now taking over the reins for the injured Carson Palmer for the rest of this season. And the Cardinals trying to go to 9-1. Right now you're looking at a 54-yard field goal attempt if the Cardinals get nothing. Had to get rid of it. The pressure was coming. And it's fourth down.
They brought everybody on that snap, Chris. 5 guys out in coverage. You know there's going to be one unblocked guy, and it's right up the gut. He has to get rid of the football here. He had him open, but there was the pressure caused a bad incompletion.
No field goal try. Butler's going to boom it away. Ross lets it go, and did the Cardinals down that? It looks like the Lions can run with it, and they do. That's Jeremy Ross. And Jeremy Ross all the way to the 45 of Arizona. A freakish play.
This literally never happens in football. What a heads-up play by Jeremy Ross.
And what a return. A return of 49 yards, setting up the Lions. And the officials are huddling, but they're clearly saying he reestablished himself, kept the ball alive, and it was just an alert play by Ross to scoop it and run with it legally, which he did for some 49 yards.
As we went to break, I was speculating in my head whether or not he touched that line, and he did touch that line, but he came back and played, reestablished his position, so it is a legal touch, threw it inbounds, and a great heads-up play there by Jeremy Ross, knowing that regardless of what happens, the kicking team touched it, he could run this all the way back, fumble it at the 1, it would still be Detroit's ball. Smart play by him.
Biggest offensive play of the game for the Lions in terms of yardage, and it has them in position at the 46 of Arizona. You see Cornelius Lucas is out for Adrian Waddle, who was injured at right tackle. And there's a challenge coming for Bruce Arians, even though the officials huddled and reviewed this.
Arizona is challenging the rule of the field that the ball was not possessed by the player in the field of play. We will review that aspect of the play.
So, Ruled a return on the punt, but challenged by the Cardinals. Cardinals challenge the return of Jeremy Ross, and Jerome Boger has reviewed. Let's see what he thinks.
After reviewing the play, the rule on the field is that the Arizona player number 28 possessed the ball at the 1-yard line before he threw it back into the field of play. Therefore, the rule of the field is that the play is dead at the 1-yard line. 1st and 10, Detroit. Please reset the game clock to 11:57.
All right, Mike Pereira, our rules analyst, help us understand why the play was reversed. That's Justin Bethel at the goal line.
Yeah, well, you can see his explanation. What they ruled is that he possessed the ball here and then threw it back in the field of play. But listen, you always allow for that. I mean, you allow him to toss the ball back into the field of play to keep it from going into the end zone. That's part of that process. So I really do not agree with that ruling.
And neither do the Lions. 39% of the calls, by the way, have been reversed this year. Those that have been challenged league-wide. A difference of 49 yards. Handoff to the fullback, Judd Collins, falling forward. And what a difference for this Lions team with under 12 minutes to go and trailing by 8.
Well, Detroit was going to need some sort of big play, and it seemed that Jeremy Ross had given him that. That is an obscure understanding of the rule, though. As Mike said, it's in the rule book. It's the right call. He clearly possessed it before he threw it back into play. So I guess it is the right ruling.
Stafford from his own end zone behind Calvin Johnson. It'll be 3rd down. Patrick Peterson has done an excellent job on Calvin Johnson all afternoon, shadowing him.
There's been some great pass defense all day long today, especially from the Arizona Cardinals. Patrick Peterson on Calvin Johnson there, Tyrann Mathieu. This whole secondary has risen up to the occasion against some really good players of Detroit, and it's paying off for them now.
Of the 20 takeaways for the Cardinals this year, 12 have come in the 4th quarter. Stafford quickly gets rid of it. And Bell hurdling his way for a 1st down up near the 25-yard line.
Well, I love that play call, Chris. Playing man-to-man, get it out to the screen, get some blockers out in front. Man, look at that athleticism. Big, big back there, Joyce Bell. Seen a lot of guys do that. Not many that big. Get over a safety that was aiming for his midpoint.
Bell just under 6 feet and 230 pounds. He's been the workhorse on the ground today. Rushing for 74 yards and turned that flip pass into a big 1st down on 1st and 10. Stafford completes underneath. Again, it's Bell, who works his way across the 30. Let's get a game break. Thanks, Kurt. Packers on a roll, as are these two teams colliding. Second down 4, Bell to carry. Having trouble getting away from Sam Acho. It'll be 3rd down.
Whether it's Sam Acho on this play, Calais Campbell earlier, Dan Williams has had some. Watch the penetration here, just running right through the tight end, the block of the tight end, Eric Ebron. Big tackle for loss there, and Detroit continues to find ways to put themselves behind the sticks. A lost yardage play on 2nd down is not what you want in a crucial situation in a football game.
Blitz coming. Pass unloaded. It's Theo Riddick for a 1st down. He was the hero last week with a game-winning touchdown catch. And another 3rd down conversion in this drive.
This is what Theo Riddick is. He's right here in the slot. Checks for the blitz. Looks like his defender ran right by him, didn't even check him, and Theo Riddick continues to come up big for this Detroit Lions offense.
Meanwhile, Golden Tate who has already hit career highs in catches and yardage. The impact player, there he is, only has 2 catches today for this Lions team. After a gain of 16, first down from the 45. Stafford going deep and over the head of Calvin Johnson. Running right with him.
Well, that's the first time today that we've seen someone other than 21 in red on Calvin Johnson. And Gerard Powers was running step for step on that shot. See Calvin Johnson, a bunch of targets today. Only 4 catches, and 2 of those were kind of on 3rd and longs, and they just kind of gave him the reception. They've done a good job stopping Megatron and all that he brings to the table.
Missed 3 games with the ankle injury that he said is okay now. 6 defensive backs in on 2nd and 10. Bell's the back. Stafford is going to go down. Sacked inside the 40. Frosty Rucker.
Talked about Arizona always having to use pressure to get to the quarterback. Well, today they're just using a 4-man rush. There's coverage downfield, nowhere for him to get rid of the ball, and Frosty Rucker comes underneath the block, or the rush outside of Alex Okafor, and falls in for the sack.
3rd sack of the day for this Cardinal defense. Now 3rd and 15. Stafford backpedaling, throws short, and the catch short of the first down marker. Calvin Johnson did make the grab. Had to lay out that 6'5" frame coming back towards the quarterback. Showed you the arm strength of Stafford, even though he was backpedaling.
This is 4th and short, and they're keeping the offense on the field here.
The way their defense is played.
Yeah, you almost can't fault them. They had a 4th and short early. They tried the dummy snap, see if they could get them to jump off sides. I think this one, though, Chris, they're going to try to go for this. Crucial point in the game. You need a first down here.
Calvin Johnson, bottom of your screen, going that way and incomplete. Coverage was good. Again, Gerard Powers came over to make it a difficult throw for Stafford. It's such a critical play. That was awkward looking for the Lions.
It really was. They motion this down into a stack formation. Usually you get there, one of these guys is breaking out. Gerard Powers anticipates that. Matthew Stafford had to throw it over, and Arizona gets off on 4th down.
Today's game is sponsored by Miller Lite. Back in its original look, it's Miller time.
Down, Stanton passing and completing inside the 40. John Carlson. Drew Stanton already a career high in passing yardage.
That was a big stop there on 4th down for Arizona, and puts Arizona in good field position. Just like earlier in the game there, Chris, Drew Stanton, quick play action, gets the ball out, picks up a big chunk of yardage. A score here, whether it's 3 or 6, I think really changes the outlook of this game as for Detroit trying to get back into it.
Andre Ellington stopped at the 35-yard line.
They had a bunch of success early in this game running the football. Since then, Detroit has really stepped up. Now, Arizona, they got to be thinking points here. This juncture in the game, any score, I think, makes it difficult for Detroit to win this thing, even though we know they've come back at the end. But since the 2 interceptions by Drew Stanton, they've been really conservative on offense. Let's see if they try to push it in here for a score that would put this game a little bit more out of reach.
Cardinals got 14 in the opening quarter and have had nothing since. Stanton gets rid of it. And after Stanton threw a couple of touchdown passes to Michael Floyd, the Lions defense, Josh Bynes digging in, and then the nickelback Cassius Vaughn. And all Detroit has been able to come up with his field goals. Now the Arizona defense is allowing only 19 a game so far, but the Lions, the best defense in the league, allowing just under 16 a game. So that's why we stand at this number. And again, the 4th quarter is when the Arizona turnover machine takes over. On 3rd and 9. Stanton's throw is low and incomplete. So the field goal try, if they decide to go for it, he was knocked down by Jason Jones, would be a 53-yard try. And it looks like they're going to punt instead.
Pressure on Drew Stanton. Every time they've gotten into a 3rd and long situation, Terrell Lawson, defensive coordinator Terrell Lawson, has brought pressure, making him get the ball out quick. And as of late, he hasn't been able to complete any of those.
And obviously coaches careful even on long field goal tries, Rondé, because of the field goal, I should say the field position.
Absolutely.
They don't want to give anybody an edge. And again, the closest the Lions got was inside the 10-yard line. Other than that, it's been only field goals. The Super Bowl is here 77 days from now. Rondé Barber, Chris Myers here in the 4th quarter. You see the time remaining. Trailing 14-6. The Lions have won 4 straight, 3 in dramatic fashion in the final moments. There have been no passes targeted for Golden Tate since the 2nd quarter.
I'm glad you just brought that up, Chris, because we've done 3 prior Lions games, and every single one of them in the 4th quarter, Golden Tate is the one that made the game-changing play to put them back in the game. Let's see if Matt Stafford finds his #1 target on the year on this drive.
Matthew Stafford told us yesterday there's a whole lot of belief going on for us these days. On 2nd and 10, Bell with a big hole. And he gets a first down and then gets out of bounds. Joyke Bell averaging over 6 yards a carry today. Has 85 rushing yards against Todd Bowles' defense. And we welcome those that may have watched NASCAR racing. Kevin Harvick, the NASCAR Sprint Cup champion. I know fans in Detroit, of course here in Phoenix, are big race fans. Glad you're watching this one. Battle for the pole position in the NFC. Stafford goes down. Gerard Powers having trouble getting out of the pile after the sack.
Coverage was absolutely great. There's pressure in the secondary. Look at Dayon Buchanan cover up Golden Tate right there in the slot. That's where he was looking for. Big Antonio Cromartie on the tight end. Ebron nowhere for Matthew Stafford to throw the football, and the sack comes in, takes him for a loss.
On 2nd and 15, Theo Riddick, the receiving running back, checks in. Underneath, it knocked out right away, shut back. Larry Foote. 3.5 and counting. When you look at the Lions, we've said they won 4 in a row. Back to week 7 against New Orleans. Corey Fuller with 1:48 left. Week 8 against Atlanta. Over in London, Matt Prater, a second try and a game-winning field goal as time expires from 48 yards. And then against the Dolphins, Theo Riddick, an 11-yard touchdown catch with 29 seconds remaining. But Jim Conwell's team has not shown the ability to do that against this Cardinal defense. The ball is loose. Stafford on the run. Throws it to Riddick, incomplete.
What an inopportune time to have a miscommunication between the center and quarterback. Dominic Raiola looking back saying, I thought you called for the snap, but clearly Matt Stafford was stepping up to change the play. He goes right by him, sets up a 4th and forever, and they have to punt, and they're gonna, this is the point in the game, Chris, with under 3 minutes left in the game, where Arizona, if they can get 2 first downs or so, this game will run itself out and they'll run out of time.
The Lions are 5 out of 15 on 3rd down today. Ted Ginn is going to try and move up the sideline. Knocked down, stays in bounds just across the 25-yard line. A 56-yard punt. 2:42 remaining. A flag comes in late.
There was some jawing going on Detroit after that play was dead. And the flag went in right in that huddle.
3 penalties against Arizona accepted today, 8 on the Lions. They had 10 last week. And early in the first half, the penalties really worked against them.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, taunting on the kicking team. 15-yard penalty from the end of the play. Arizona keeps the ball. First down.
Those type of penalties, these type of penalties were kind of a signature of the Detroit Lions in years past. But since Jim Caldwell has been here, these penalties have eliminated themselves. But Stanford there is jawing at the Arizona sideline, and Jim Caldwell cannot believe himself. He is the type of coach that finds those type of penalties unacceptable. You're 2.5 minutes left in the football game. You just gave them 15 free yards.
And Julian Stanford named today as a special teams captain. It moves the ball all the way up to the 41. And remember, Detroit will have 2 timeouts and a 2-minute warning. But they have to stop the Cardinals and Andre Ellington. And we are going to get a timeout by the Lions here. They'll have 1 remaining.
4-minute offense for Arizona now. Like I said, right before that kick, 2 first downs, and you got a chance to close out this game without giving the ball back to Matthew Stafford and that offense, who we just mentioned have had numerous fourth-quarter comebacks. You just don't want to give them that opportunity.
Well, we came in with the NFL's best defense, the Lions, against the NFL's best team, at least record-wise, for the Cardinals to be 8-1. And it looked like the Cardinal defense has really outplayed Detroit, and that's why they're in the position they're in.
I would absolutely agree with that, Chris. We talked about the #1 defense in Detroit, and they've done their job, especially in the second quarter on until this fourth quarter. But what the story is, really, is Arizona's defense putting pressure on Matthew Stafford. They haven't been able to stay in a drive at all in the second half of this game.
2:37, 1 timeout Lions. 2nd and 10, pass is caught by John Brown. The Lions knock him down at the 45. It'll bring up 3rd down, and they're going to use their last timeout. Detroit will have the 2-minute warning. But they need to stop, and then they want the ball back. It's I guess, Ronde, we call it a 1-possession game, but it's really a 2-score game, because if the Lions are fortunate enough to get a touchdown, they still need the 2-point conversion for the tie.
Absolutely, and you got to give their defense credit for even giving them this opportunity. That interception that Drew Stanton had going in the red zone is going to weigh large if Detroit gets the ball back, is able to get out for a score. That was at least 3 points. Interceptions in the red zone are crucial at the end of game, and we'll see how that plays itself out now.
The OT coming up after this with Kurt and the guys. Highlights of all the other games. The Rams stunning upset of the Lions. The Atlanta Falcons are in first place.
How about that?
The NFC South. So it's crazy. The 49ers won. The Seahawks lost in the NFC West. And, of course, for Lions fans, Green Bay is winning big, and the Bears beat Minnesota.
Huge 3rd down opportunity here for Arizona. They get a 1st down. No timeouts for Detroit, and you can see them milking this game out.
4 wide receivers for Arizona. Carlson splits out as a tight end, top of your screen. And here comes a flag on 3rd and 6, remember.
This is going to be the quarterback stepping out.
False start. Offense, number 5. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Pressure situation there for Drew Stanton. They know that this is a big 3rd down conversion that they need here, and he just got a little anxious. I guess he forgot that he called it on too there.
Well, earlier he had the Lions jumping in the opening quarter. Remember, the Lions were jumping off sides, and he had a couple of free plays.
See him back there after the hard count.
Stephon Taylor in at running back. 3rd and 11 now. Still 4 wide receivers. Stanton's going to fire in the middle of the field. He's got Fitzgerald knocked back, but the spot, it should not be enough for the 1st down, according to where he was first tackled.
I don't know. This spot is looking like a 1st down, and you talk about having pure confidence in your backup quarterback. How about 3rd and 11? Drew Stanton, under pressure, stands in there, finds Larry Fitzgerald, and if this is a 1st down, that's the biggest throw of Drew Stanton's career, Chris.
A chance to take the Cardinals to 9-1. That spot, remember the yellow line is not official. We superimpose that for a gauge, and it is. What's they're going to measure here? They've already changed the yard marker, giving him a first down. And we have reached the 2-minute warning. So anything under 2 minutes would be reviewed upstairs by the officials. But this play started before the 2-minute warning. Battle of division leaders. Cardinals with the lead and the football. The beginning of this play started outside of 2 minutes, so to challenge the spot, the Lions would have to do that, and they are out of timeout, so they could not. First down awarded. And the Cardinals have this in hand. You know, I think of Drew Sharp, the writer for the Detroit Free Press, who talked about this Lions team and the old Al Davis mantra. He went the other way for Detroit. Years of a lack of success, saying just win maybe. That was the concern. And after this 4-game winning streak in the second half, I asked Matthew Stafford about the collapse last year, different leadership, but in the second half, the Lions fell out of the picture. They will fall to 7-3 in a tough loss here where the offense never really did its part.
Well, you can't blame this on the defense other than the early big plays allowed by Drew Stanton and Michael Floyd. This is a tough Arizona football team. You play them at home, it's almost impossible to win here.
And an interesting note as Bruce Arians celebrates the Super Bowl we told you in this building. And of the previous 48 Super Bowls, only 5 times has a team that has hosted the Super Bowl at its stadium even made the playoffs. None have been a 1 or a 2 seed. And you see that record improving for the first time since the 40s.
Well, people are trying to find ways, have been trying to find ways all year not to believe in the Arizona Cardinals. They lost their quarterback. They lost 3 or 4 key players on defense. But what you can't judge is the heart on that team and the leadership that they've provided by Bruce Arians, and they just continue to find ways to win games.
They're going to have a 2-game lead for the #1 seed in the NFC. Remember, they've already beaten the Eagles and the Cowboys. They'll have a 3-game lead in the NFC West. Today's game produced by Mike Burks as you get a look at the remaining schedule for the 9-1 Arizona Cardinals. Technical producer Tom Lynch, Ernest Bauer, our technical director. Our thanks to James Petralka and Rick Odioso in the booth. Our audio mixer Kevin McCloskey. The defensive struggle belongs to the Cardinals, who win at 14-6. 8 straight losses in Arizona for Detroit. But we will have more in just a moment.